Hello and welcome to the 2014-15 virtual curriculum night presentation. This is Mr. Vade, your student's classroom teacher, and the purpose of this virtual presentation is to allow you to either view our school's curriculum night presentation, our class's curriculum night presentation at home if you're not able to attend on the night of the curriculum night, or for you to go back and review what was discussed and said at the curriculum night. Well, I'll get started. My name is Mr. Vade. I have been teaching for 10 years at May Watts Elementary School. Um, this is my 11th year, and they've all been in 5th grade, all at May Watts. And I guess that's it. I can explain a little bit more, or maybe do a separate slideshow on myself and put that up. But let's get into the curriculum night presentation. This is a presentation that our school district has encouraged us to use for the curriculum night this year. It's a little different from years past in which teachers created their own presentations. So the first slide has to do with the 4 C's of 21st century learning. Any district these days is going to be advocating for 21st century learning. Here you see the 4 C's: communication, collaboration, critical thinking, and creativity, and you can read the subtitles underneath each of those. But really, schools these days are pushing for college and career readiness, and it's a belief that the 4 C's of 21st century learning really allows students to be ready for either college or a career, or both, depending on the students. And it's our goal as teachers and schools to implement the 4 C's in a lot of what we do, and that's in classes such as social studies and language arts and math, but it's also in areas of just social emotional learning, citizenship, um, and just thinking, really. We do a lot of group work, but it's not just group work. Time for collaboration when appropriate is given, and that's a fair amount of the time. Um, Communicating isn't just talking; it's more specific than that. It's asking questions, it's sharing ideas, and learning how to work in teams, and learning to work with a purpose. Critical thinking. Um, we do that, I like to say, especially when we do argumentative writing, when we try to prove or disprove theories in mathematics, um, when in science we try to ask questions and create our own experiments to, um, you know, see if our hypotheses are correct. And creativity, um, I'd like to think, there's a few things that we're going to do this year, including maker spaces, um, problem-based learning, uh, that spur innovation, that allows students to invent things and create things, models across the curriculum to learn from and to teach others. So the first slide, or it's not really the first slide, but it's I guess you can call it the first slide of curricular learning or curricular content, English language arts, and I'll talk to you a little bit about what takes place in our ELA curriculum during 5th grade. So ELA stands for English Language Arts, and it's the integration of reading, writing, speaking, and listening in language. There's a major focus on combining or putting all of that together this year to make students proficient um, citizens in the language arts. All of our language arts curriculum is based on the Common Core state standards, and um, I can show you some examples of what those standards look like because they're linked to our essential skills and our essential understandings. Um, if there's a way to summarize language arts, it's really trying to make sense of text. It's closely examining text, questioning text, critiquing text, It's asking questions about why the author wrote something in a particular manner. It's making sense of what a phrase means and really digging deeper into the text to extrapolate as much information from a paragraph or a sentence as we can. It's inferring and reading between the lines and coming up with questions that lead to other answers. But it's definitely tied back to understanding what the text means, especially from the author's perspective, and not just students coming up with their own opinions and saying, okay, here's what I think it means, it might mean this, but it's really taking those opinions and linking it back and saying, well, I have an opinion um, on this, and I think it's because, and then students should go back into the text and uh, uh, verify or validate their opinions with evidence from the text. Successful students, when we're practicing and putting into practice the Common Core State standards in language arts, we want our students to demonstrate independence, build a strong foundation for knowledge, communicate effectively. A lot of that is done in arguments, I should say, debates, just general speeches, comprehend as well as critique. So it's not just understanding what a text says, but it's also critiquing the text and judging it and asking questions about it, asking questions on whether it was a fair text or whether the author was right in making this type of comment, or asking questions in regards to whether the text is best suited for its purpose, or comparing two pieces of text and critiquing which one actually may be more beneficial for a reader. It's valuing evidence, and I always tell my students to go back into the text and look for evidence that supports a particular position they have about it. Um, we use a lot of technology to do many different things. One of the things related in our ELA curriculum is technology to communicate. In years past, I've had students create blogs that communicate for a variety of purposes, to teach, to inform, to motivate, to inspire, to spread the word, things of that sort. But I've had them create their own blogs. We'll do a few different things this year, I think. Not sure exactly what, but each year something new, I guess. Um, but the purpose isn't to just learn how to make a blog or a website. There's a purpose behind that. That's to communicate for a variety of reasons. Um, and then understanding other perspectives and cultures, building tolerance. A lot of that's tied through the texts that we read. The texts that we read in ELA are really connected to our social emotional learning goals as a school, learning tolerance, practicing kindness, things of that sort. Here's just an overview of the fifth grade ELA curriculum. It has one thematic unit per quarter. The next slide shows you our 4 different thematic units. You can read these yourselves. I'm not going to read all of them or many of them to you. I'll be, you know, at the actual curriculum night, I will show literary texts with informational texts. These things are called text pairings. How you can have literature paired with actual informational text, and I'll show examples of that on the curriculum night. Um, what we do is we assess student mastery of essential skills, and I'll show you an example of what those essential skills are. We practice the ELA standards across social studies, science, even math, especially social studies. We integrate grammar, vocabulary, and word study. There's a large emphasis on word study and vocabulary. And this year I really want to make grammar more of a goal than I have in the past. I think it's extremely important for these children these days who, you know, don't have a solid grammatical foundation to really speak and read and write correctly. Here are our 5th grade thematic units, 1 per quarter. Each of them, with each of them, there are the essential understandings. We practice our Common Core state standards with each of these units. Each unit is themed. What that means, I guess, is that we have different texts for each unit, and some are, and the texts, like especially the literature ones, they're really based around these themes, books, stories that have to do with characters and situations that revolve around these themes. But also, if you're looking at it from informational text-wise, social studies, this fits in with our social studies concept as well. I know that when we study the American Revolution, that is around the time of the third um, unit, which is being at a crossroads in life. And then moving forward, we study around that time the westward expansion of the United States. But these themes, they really, I guess you can say, they give us a lot of texts to read that follow the same theme. And as students, we also explore these themes as they relate to our own lives and how we are existing at the time. You can just read this. It's a little slide regarding the units of study. Assessment. I spoke about essential skills and essential understandings. Um, these will be assessed through end of unit performance tasks. I'll give you an example of a performance task for our first quarter, and that is for students to write a poem about their identity. Um, More specifically, they are to write a poem about who they are, a who I am poem. And through our study of the of identity through the identity unit, students will learn, for example, um, how to understand what their identity is based on their culture, their values, their experiences in life. It's a pretty daunting task, I'd say, for a fifth grader or a 10 or 11-year-old to take on, but such is the nature of the Common Core standards. These things go a little deeper than just reading a text and answering questions. Um, we do a lot of things within the day of the classroom: daily work, group work, collaboration, reading responses, tests, quizzes, written work, essays, speeches, etc. Those are all things that are assessed. I want to show you what these essential skills and essential understandings are. These are things that students will be able to do. Essential skills. Students will be able to, and you'll see this RL and RI in here. That 5 stands for 5th grade. The number is just part of the coding for the Common Core State Standard. RL is for reading literature, fictional texts. We're starting to read the text Naomi Leon, Becoming Naomi Leon right now. RI stands for reading informational. That would have something to do with informational texts. Those are your nonfiction texts, a social studies book, historical documents in social studies. So you can take a look at these skills. These are the things that we want students to be able to do, and you'll see that these are just a few, but they range from RL, reading literature, to RI, reading informational. So fiction, nonfiction. L is for language, such as grammar. W is for writing. We have two different, or really three different major writing modes this year. Writing narratives, writing argumentative essays, and finally um, writing things that we used to call them expositories, but it's writing to explain. I guess you could still call it an expository piece. Um, I'm going to go to the next slide, essential understandings. It says conceptual understandings here. It really, you can also look at it as essential understandings. These are some of the things that we want students to understand, and we say students will understand the following, and you can read these. These aren't things that students will be able to do as much as they will just be able to understand. So in the next presentation, I'll be going into math. This will be a little shorter than 15 minutes. So I'm going to pause for right now. And in the next video, you can watch some information related to our curriculum about math. Thanks.